Many of you believe the Sabbath is simply Saturday. But what if I told you the biblical Sabbath was originally tied to the moon, and that centuries of history have distorted this divine appointment? Today, we're going on a journey from creation to eternity to uncover the hidden truth about God's Sabbath. By the end of this video, you'll see powerful biblical passages and historical events that invite you to return to a purer truth. So, what exactly is the Sabbath according to the Bible? In Exodus 20, God commands, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. The Hebrew word Shabbat means to cease or to rest. It's not just a suggestion. It's one of the 10 Commandments, a foundational sign of the covenant between God and His people. Its roots go back to creation itself, making it a cosmic principle, not just a cultural custom. The Sabbath is about rest, holiness, and communion with God. Now, let's travel back to ancient times. The Israelites used a luni-solar calendar. Their months began with the new moon. This is where things get fascinating. A perspective known as the lunar Sabbath suggests the weekly cycle was reset each month. In this model, the Sabbaths would consistently fall on the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th days of the lunar month. Proponents argue that the new moon day was a special day of worship, separate from the 6 work days and the Sabbath. This is a debated view, and many scholars uphold the idea of a continuous, unbroken 7-day cycle. However, understanding the lunar basis of the biblical calendar is crucial. It shows that their concept of time was deeply connected to the heavenly bodies God created as signs. What about the time of Jesus and the apostles? The New Testament is clear. Jesus and his disciples observed the Sabbath. We see him teaching in the synagogues on the Sabbath day. The debates weren't about which day to observe, but how to observe it. Jesus declared that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, restoring its true purpose of mercy and restoration. The book of Hebrews even links this weekly rest to the ultimate eternal Sabbath rest that awaits the people of God. The early church, especially Jewish believers, continued to observe biblical feasts and timings for generations, long after Christ's resurrection. So when did the shift happen? All roads, it seems, lead to Rome. In the year 321 A.D., Emperor Constantine, a sun worshipper, issued a civil decree making the venerable day of the sun, or Sunday, a day of rest for the Roman Empire. Was this an official change of the Sabbath? Historians debate this. Some see it as a purely civil act, while others view it as the first major step in elevating Sunday. Then came the church councils. The Council of Nicaea, around 364 A.D., went further. It explicitly forbade Christians from Judaizing by resting on the Saturday Sabbath and instructed them to honor the Lord's Day Sunday. Over centuries, the institutional church claimed it had the authority to change the day, pointing to its power to bind and loose. The connection to the biblical lunisolar calendar was severed, and a new tradition, aligned with the Roman solar calendar, took root. Now it's important to address some common objections. Critics of the lunar Sabbath rightly point out that such a radical change from a continuous weekly cycle would have likely caused major debates, yet clear historical records of this are scarce. They also argue it complicates the counting of certain feasts, like the Feast of Weeks. Furthermore, many historians maintain that Constantine and the famous Council of Nicaea did not officially change the Sabbath to Sunday. Nicaea's primary focus was on standardizing the date of Easter, separating it from the Jewish Passover. These are valid points, and we must approach this topic with humility, acknowledging the complexities and the ongoing scholarly debates. It forces us to be diligent, to search the scriptures and history for ourselves, rather than blindly accepting any single tradition. So why does this matter for us today? Let's look at prophecy, The Sabbath is described in Exodus as a perpetual covenant and a sign forever. God is unchanging. If he established a sacred appointment in time, would he abolish it? Isaiah 66 foretells a time in the new heavens and new earth where all flesh will come to worship God, from one new moon to another and from one Sabbath to another. This suggests the Sabbath, in its original pattern, is eternal. It's a divine rhythm woven into the fabric of creation and redemption. Keeping the commandments of God is a hallmark of his people in the last days, and the Sabbath is central to those commands. This brings us to a personal reflection. On what basis do we choose our day of rest? Is it based on civil tradition or on God's divine calendar? Are we willing to question long-held beliefs if the Word of God demands it? I encourage you not to just take my word for it. Start studying. Look at the phases of the moon. Read passages like Ezekiel 46, which distinguish between new moons, Sabbaths, and workdays. Let's have humble conversations, testing all things and holding fast to what is good. The goal isn't condemnation, but restoration. In conclusion, the Sabbath is far more than just a day off. It's a divine command, a sacred appointment established by God himself. Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath. He came to restore its true meaning, not abolish it. True revival often begins with a return to the pure Word of God, even if it means re-examining our most cherished traditions. I invite you to engage with the Word, seek the truth with an open heart, and rediscover the blessings of the Sabbath as God intended it. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that challenges us to walk in truth.